friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today we are going to talk about all of the books that I read in September 2024. This was actually a really good reading month for me this year. I'm very excited about it. I read a lot of really good fantasy and really fun books. Let's start off with Tales of the Celestial Kingdom by Sue Lynn Tan. This is the 2.5 version short story collection from the Daughter of the Moon Goddess book duology. This is really cute. I read this in pretty much one sitting. They're just a bunch of stories from different characters throughout the series. You definitely probably should wait to read this after you finish the duology, because there are some spoilers in here, particularly the last couple of stories, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really cute. There's beautiful illustrations throughout this. It really gives a little bit more context to the story as well. I think eventually at some point I do want to reread this series because there's a lot that I forgot from the first book of this by the time I read the second one that just felt like I was missing information. So yeah, I really enjoyed this series. It's a really great duology and I really enjoyed it. Okay, I don't have the book physically with me because I did rent it from the library, but next let's talk about a graphic novel that I really enjoyed, talking about the Middle Ages. So this book was so fascinating. I'm really interested in nonfiction books that really lean into like a snippet bit of history or just some sort of fascinating topic and give you a pretty high level look at it. Nothing too intense, nothing too deep. I mean, clearly this is a graphic novel, but for the Middle Ages, I found this so interesting. I just feel like it's a period of history that's very overlooked, and I was really fascinated to learn so much about it. It's definitely, if you ever pick it up, very focused on the power rise of the church in the Middle Ages, which of course fits with that theme of part of history, but it was just really interesting to kind of see how that scope took place because it was never something I really knew. I knew the church was very powerful in that period, but to see kind of how it grew and expanded was fascinating. So if you definitely want to check out anything about the Middle Ages, again, pretty high level, pretty easy read, definitely check this one out. Okay, next, let's talk about this little book. This is such an interesting book. I randomly was reading or picked up this based on going through my Goodreads like want to read list of releases coming out in 2024, and this one caught my attention and I was like, I'm gonna check it out. I thought this was so interesting. It's basically, this concept is a world in which dolls are the protectors against these monsters that attack the realm, or like the world essentially, or the country that these people live within. This is Sean. No, what is her name? Sean. I think, yeah, Sean is the pronunciation. Shean. So Shane, Sean. She's the main character within this, and she essentially, not to spoil it, but essentially goes and is trying to like regain her regard as a doll maker for a few different reasons, and basically comes across this town where she tries to help them with her dolls. And it's very, very interesting. It gives very, what was like the soundbite of it was kind of like a Studio Ghibli meets like kind of creepy horror in a weird way. I'm trying to remember the soundbite for it, but basically, yeah, it kind of has that feel of it. It's kind of a creepy book. Like the creatures in this are kind of scary. It doesn't have jump scares necessarily, but it just has a very ominous kind of feel to it. And yeah, I actually really, really enjoyed this. There's actually also some random fun illustrations in this, which are kind of cool to see as you're kind of going through it. But yeah, I will say the one thing with this to know is this main character is insufferable for about 80% of the book. I did not like the main character. I thought she was so full of herself. You figure out why that is, but it was just aggravating to read about her and from her point of view, and so frustrating. So bear that in mind. She's kind of a nightmare to read, but once you get past that, it's a pretty interesting book as well. So I hope there's more that comes out from this. As of now, I think it's a standalone, but I really enjoyed it. Okay, let's talk about another one that I don't physically have here with me, and that is Convenience Store Woman. I loved this book. It's such a little slice of life into this woman's life who I think she's never really spoken or said deliberately what diagnosis she has, but I think pretty strongly that she does have some form of autism. I think. If I'm mistaken, please let me know down in the comments below if you have read this or no. But I thought this was so interesting. I knew a friend that had recommended it to me, so I wanted to check it out. And yeah, basically it's about this woman who lives her entire life. Well, she's lived the last, I think, 18 years working at this like tiny convenience store in Japan. And I found it so interesting. Like everyone in her life basically wants her to find a boyfriend or find a husband or get a different job. And she's just made to live and work at or not live, but like work at a convenience store. And her whole life is centered around that. So some stuff pops up and happens. I think it basically takes place over like a couple of months, like the entirety of the book. It's a pretty short time frame that like the main part of the story takes place in. But yeah, I thought it was really cute. I really liked it. I'm really enjoying reading translated works recently. I'm really enjoying it. I think they're really fun to read and just learn more about a different side, especially ones coming out of Japan. I think they're so cute and quirky, and yeah, I'm really enjoying them. So if you have any that you recommend, let me know down in the comments below. Next, let's talk about another Asian inspired story by an Asian author. This is Elizabeth Lim's Six Crimson Cranes. First of all, this cover just makes my little heart so happy. I made the mistake of not ordering the Dragon's Promise in this UK cover, and I'm desperately regretting it because you can't find it anywhere unless you want to pay like $75. So if anyone has a copy of the UK Dragon's Promise that they're willing to part with, I would be so grateful. So please let me know if you know. But yeah, this is essentially a fairy tale retelling essentially of the Six Cranes fairy tale, but with an Asian inspired twist. This is so interesting. It's a very fairy tale-esque story with a lot of common themes for those kinds of fairy tales if you're familiar with, of course, some Asian influence added in. I thought this was really interesting. It's basically about a girl named Shori who has 6 brothers, and her stepmother, essentially, this I don't think is a spoiler, but yeah, she basically banishes the princess. Her stepmother banishes the princess and turns her brothers into cranes, and basically she has to figure out how to break the curse on her. I thought it was really cute. It was kind of a hard read for me to get into initially. There's a lot going on in this book that I wish, and I hope, I'm actually reading the second one right now, The Dragon's Promise, I hope kind of gets resolved. There's a lot of, how do I explain this? Like, it feels like there's a lot of stuff going on kind of for the sake of going on, like, if that makes sense. The villain that I was thinking was going to be the villain was not the villain, so I was very surprised by that. It gets a little like Salem witchy almost in a sense near the end of this, so spoiler alerts for that. It gets a little dark in certain aspects. It definitely is a YA read for sure. It's very light. It's very high level in that regard as some YA can be. So yeah, I wish it was actually written as an adult book because I feel like the spice in this could be very interesting. So I don't know, there is that concept of it. But yeah, overall I really enjoyed this. I am in the middle of the second one, listening to the audiobook and enjoying it. So yeah, I'll let you guys know how that goes. Okay, the last two graphic novels that I don't have with me that we'll talk about are these two. These are the Check Please Duology graphic novels. I thought these were so cute. I really enjoyed them. I thought they were adorable. They're basically following a kid or a guy that joins a college hockey team and kind of just his dynamic within the team and the people that he interacts with and the guy that he ends up meeting on the team. And it's so cute. It's so fluffy. It gives me like Heartstopper vibes a little bit, which is so cute. I really, really enjoyed both of these. I'm sad they were only library books. I might pick them up future for like a physical read, so I have them on my shelves. I really enjoyed them that much. So if you're interested in something akin to like a Heartstopper vibe story, definitely check this one out. Okay, for one that I wasn't a super huge fan of, and this has been on my shelves for a minute, I'm so glad I actually finished this, but this is Squire by Sarah, oh god, I'm gonna mispronounce that, Alfagi? I know I'm mispronouncing that, I apologize. But this is Squire. This has been on my shelves for a minute. This is a very popular graphic novel, and this essentially follows the story of Azia, who always wanted to become a knight. It's the highest military honor in her empire. And this was very interesting. I know this is definitely targeted for more of that audience, and I don't know that I really appreciated this as much as I probably could have. A lot of this I think went over my head. It's a very cute, interesting story about military sides and who's right and who's wrong, and if you're standing on the right side of history and that kind of aspect. And yeah, I thought it was really interesting. The art inside of it is beautiful. It's really, really well done. The coloring and the graphic side of it is stunning. But yeah, overall I enjoyed it. It just wasn't my favorite for the month. So if you're interested in it though, I would definitely recommend checking it out. Okay, and I think, yes, I'm 98% sure, the last one I read for the month is The Wild Robot by Peter Brown. This is such a cute book. I'm so excited to see the movie that's coming out, which is partly why I picked it up. I listened to the audiobook for this and I was obsessed. It's a cute middle grade story about a robot that gets stranded on an island and the friends that she meets and the people that, or the animals that she interacts with, because there's no people on this island. It does end on a bit of a cliffhanger, so I do plan on reading the second one. I do have it, and I'm excited to see what happens with Roz and all of her little friends. I think it's so cute. Again, I'm so excited to check out the movie for it. I think it's going to be adorable. And yeah, overall, I just thought this was so cute. It's lighthearted. It's a super quick read because most of them, I mean, the chapters are super quick, and again, it's middle grade, so it reads very fast as well. But yeah, the chapters are short. I think overall the illustrations are adorable. I think it's so cute, and yeah, it's just one of those like feel good type of books. So if you want something a little bit warm and fuzzy, definitely check this out. All right, friends, that is everything that I read in the month of September. I'm so excited. We're getting close to the end of the year. I have a lot of books that I still need to read. I've definitely leaned in this year to the audio/library book options, so unfortunately my shelves are still not as purged as I would have hoped they would be, but that is okay. We will do a recap of that later this year before the end of the year to kind of touch base on how many books I end up getting off my shelves. But yeah, I've been doing really good with my backlist. I'm excited about that. I'm really enjoying the things that I read this year. So yeah, if you guys liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments below what your favorite thing was from the reading that you did this month, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!